There we go. All right, it looks like we're live here coming from the Modest Basement studio. I'm going to turn my mic up a little bit because it looks like it's not picking me up 100%, but here we go. All right. Yeah, welcome back to the Modest Basement studio. Thank God we've got this thing running again. It is Thursday night, and we've got a guest on tonight. Dan DeGeest has agreed to join us this evening. Thanks for playing for us, Dan.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. I'm going to be running the controls. I had a little bit of technical difficulty before we started, but it shouldn't get in our way too much. Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's got you playing music? What do you like to write about? What kind of things do you sing about?
Oh, well, let's see. Got to go back, I guess, a ways. When I was about 20 years old, I got my first guitar and took a few lessons for a few months. I was living in St. Louis, Missouri at the time. Still finishing up college, and got really into it for a few months and did a lot of practice and playing, and tried to stick with it a little bit longer after that. But then got busy with graduating, jobs, kids, and life, and kind of lost track of it a little bit. And then about 10 years ago, or maybe roughly 10 years ago, unfortunately went through a tough divorce, and just during that process kind of met people and got sort of the fire relit, to do music, and started playing a lot of guitar to just really help me cope with the divorce and some of the stuff I was going through, and got a lot of encouragement, and just met some of the really talented musicians here in Ames, and got a lot of encouragement to keep going. And before I knew it, I had one song, and then I had 5 songs, and then I had 10 songs, and pretty soon I had a couple of gigs, and so it's just been a real process. It's been a real journey over the last 10 years.
That's a really encouraging story for someone like me to hear. Like, once you start getting plugged into the community a little bit, learn a little bit more about music, get connections and things like that.
Yeah.
Things seem to start to happen. And you're in a band too, right?
I did start a band. We're called No Good Deeds, and I was also in a band prior to that with Lindsay Nissen and Elliot Thompson and Alex Thompson, who's Elliot's brother, and my friend Andy Wyrock. We were called the Corn Stars, and that was my first sort of experience with being in a band. And we played, we probably for about a year. We kept it together and had a few gigs and made some good progress. And then we had some. Alex moved and had some changes, and so that kind of fizzled, and I kind of focused back on my singer-songwriter solo stuff, and then just a few years ago decided to try the band thing again. And the sort of ethos of our band is I wanted a lot of newcomers or first timers or people that were not seasoned musicians necessarily. So we've got Brandon Long on the drums. We had June on the bass initially, and then we've had John Carmichael on bass, and now we're on our third bass player, which is Wayne Chittick. And then we have my son Jonah, who is a really accomplished musician here in town and keyboardist, and he plays with us most of the time. And then I'm on electric guitar and vocals and doing most of the songs that I've written.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like quite a project. How long has that been going?
No Good Deeds has probably been going for about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you play like mostly around Ames, or what? Where do you go?
Yeah, we kind of got our start at the Angry Irishman, our Dinos as we still call it, on Main Street. So we've played there several times. We've played Alluvial Brewing. Yeah, so it's pretty much just Ames and local gigs. Played at Reliable Street a few times, and so we're not super active in trying to perform and get gigs. We're all in it for the fun and for the camaraderie and the friendship, and the weekly practice is a big part of it, and gigs are just kind of a bonus.
Sure. So a lot of socialization, camaraderie, relationship building stuff going on. Everyone trying to be better human beings all the time. That's great news. So let's lead into this. You brought a full album more or less with you tonight, right? Or at least an in progress album.
Let's call it an EP.
Okay, yeah.
I got 6 songs right now. I did another album about 4 years ago during the pandemic. There's a whole long story I could tell about that. We won't get into all the details of that. But I recorded that basically in my living room on an old piece of recording equipment, and my son Jonah and June and a few other people helped me pull that all together over several months during the pandemic. And that album was really a collection of a bunch of songs that I had written since I kind of started. A lot of love songs and a lot of just a lot of different genre styles and a lot of things. So that's been out there for 4 years, and I've written some songs here and there for the band and just kind of piecemeal. But just recently, I had this prompt to write a song about the garbage plant where I've been working for the last year, and I just really got energized and charged up about this idea of writing songs about trash and just the metaphors and some of the lyrical potential with trash and garbage and loss and throwing things away, and
so many directions to go with that.
Right. And so I just been really heads down on that, and cranked out 6 songs here in about a month, and they're all kind of works in progress still and a little bit raw, but I'm gonna try to play a few of them for you tonight, and we can talk about them as we go. And this will be the first time that anybody's heard them.
That's great. I feel honored. I heard a couple, and I assure the audience you're in for a treat, because I heard a couple as we were doing warm-ups and getting ready to go, and they sound fantastic, Dan. So
thank you.
Yeah, you want to dive in, or is there anything else you want to say about the album before we get started here?
Yeah, I think we can probably just dive in. I'll just the little bit of the backstory there is that about a year ago I quit my job as a software engineer, which is something I've been doing for about 30 years, and was just feeling really burned out. I was working remote, so I was in my dining room, no socialization, no interaction with people, and just doing that for about 2.5 years, and just really kind of at my wit's end with it. And after a series of different things and different choices, decided to quit. And I wanted to go back to grad school, so I'm in grad school now, working on a master's degree. And I really just wanted to get a job that was the most basic. I'd been sitting behind a desk my entire adult life pretty much, and I'm like, I'd really like to do something physical, something different. And somehow I just stumbled across the job listing for this laborer position at the Ames Resource Recovery Plant, where we process our trash and burn it for electricity. And so I've been working there almost a year, and just it's been an experience, and it's kind of shaping the tone of this album.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it in its entirety. If you want to play a couple songs and we'll stop and chat a little bit, you just
Sure.
let me know.
All right. Well, let's do the intro and the first song, and then we can take a little break from there and chat about that, and then we'll keep going.
Sounds like a plan.
All
Thank you,
right.
Dan.
It's so fresh that I have to have some of the lyrics in front of me. So
That's a work in progress for you.
all right, this is Resource Recovery. Now, back in the day when coal was king and the carbon footprint wasn't even a thing, Arnold O. Chatland was visionary. He could turn our mountain of waste to energy. Ahead of his time, in a time of excess, a time when people wanted more, not less. They craved convenience, always low prices too. Their lives became disposable, solid waste. The landfill grew. Use it once, then throw it away. That's another kilowatt hour, Arnold would say. Heat your house or keep it cool. Just throw away more stuff to derive that fuel. Pile, pile, pile. It was pretty fire for a while. Till 50 years later when the plant switched to gas. But it was business as usual next door with the trash. It still mixed better with coal and fly ash. Chatland's time had passed. Yesterday we threw away all the memories he'd made, photographs and picture frames, cutting cords and wedding cake. All the bills he'd ever paid, stored in boxes and filed away, saved them for a rainy day that never came. Commit him today to resource recovery. Momentary spark of electricity. Bric-a-brac on shelves of wood, meaningless, misunderstood, dust-covered places no one ever heard of. A watch and pen are all to show 30 years as a corporate hoe. His golden hand stopped turning so long ago. Commit him today. Commit him today to resource recovery. A momentary spark, momentary spark of electricity. Yesterday we threw away all the memories he'd made, committed him to resource recovery.
Thank you, Dan. Sounds like you're having some experiences at the resource recovery plant for sure. Tell us a little bit about the background there.
Yeah, so this song really came about. So one of the perks of my job is that I get to before I start my shift, I go in and I get to walk around the pile of trash and just take a look at what people have thrown away. And sometimes I find some really interesting things, and it's amazing what people do throw away. But this particular song came about because one day I walked in and I just found these photo albums scattered all over the floor. You know, they'd been thrown in there, and then they'd been hit with the loader and pushed around, and there was just so many of them. And I picked them up, and it was pictures of a wedding and pictures of grandparents and pictures of babies, and it was somebody's life, essentially. And there was plaques, and there was accolades and awards, and so I was able to clearly able to put together who this person was. And I went home that night and I looked them up, and clearly, obviously they had passed away, but it was the widow had passed away. So the man had passed away many years prior, but she had kept all of his accolades and awards and his things from his career. And when she passed away, I guess the story I'm assuming is that the family went through, what was left, and kept what was meaningful to them and kept what they wanted, and the rest of it got committed to resource recovery. And so it's just it's about that, and it's about how we do live our lives saving up our bric-a-brac on our shelves of wood, and our little mementos, and that when you go, they go with you, and it's the kind of the circle of life and death.
That's an amazing, actually, the way that song came together, and you talk about resource recovery and a momentary spark as a spark of electricity.
Right.
Like it's just so reductive, right? It's like everything is
a lifetime's worth of photographs and memories, and becomes a tiny flash in the boiler at the power plant.
It's like harrowing. It's absolutely very real and very like.
It's sad, but it's also a good reminder to live your life every day as best you can, and with the most.
I live in a neighborhood with a graveyard nearby, and I've got a dog, so I walk the dog past the graveyard a couple times a day, and I like to think that I'm kind of a memento mori, or like remember your death kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I really stop and think about it with a song like this, or with stories like this, there's something inside that's just like, man, that's much more profound and much more intense, much deeper than just walking by a graveyard.
Yeah, and I started with that little prologue, that little spoken piece about Arnold O'Chatland, who is the engineer that came up with the resource recovery plan initially in the 70s. And so when I was writing this song, I was also kind of imagining him, right? His whole life and his legacy is this plant that we burn our trash. And I don't know this for sure, but in my mind, probably when he was gone and the family cleaned out his belongings, they were committed to the plant, and he became a spark of electricity. And so there's a lot going on there.
There's a lot of moving parts. And the interesting thing is, as we go through, I don't know what kind of things you are about to explore with the rest of the album. Obviously, I haven't heard the whole thing yet, or the EP, excuse me. Lots of trash coming our way. That's good. That's good to hear. And
lots of stories of loss or waste and so forth.
And the title of the album, I think that you sent me, was Reused, Reduced.
The title's Resource Recovery.
Resource Recovery.
That was just a little tagline. I thought that was, that was a slogan that I remember from my childhood or earlier in my adult life. The reuse, recycle, reuse, reduce, recycle, and I just thought it was an interesting play on words to make it like sort of past tense of reused and recycled and reduced.
Here we are doing it.
And we
are being it.
We all live that life to some degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dan, if you want to take us away with one or two more, or we can come back for a little more conversation. Thanks. Want to say quick thanks to everybody out there watching tonight. I see we've got 4 or 5 viewers that have stopped by. I see several comments. I appreciate the comments from Mr. Gurney. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting local music and local artists. All right, Dan, go for it.
All right, the next song is called Conveyor, and we'll talk about it after I'm done. It's a short little song here. Conveyor, turn, turn. There's endless trash to burn. They will never learn. It's not their concern. Conveyor, don't stand still. Condemn this old man to the mill. They all lack the will. It's a buzzkill. Conveyor, climb higher. Take me to the fire. They will never tire. Endless desire.
I love it. Thanks again for sharing tonight, Dan.
You're welcome.
So tell us a little bit there. Obviously, it seems the conveyor is part of the resource recovery plant.
Well, there's a lot of conveyor belts in there. The way the plant works is you throw your trash away in your trash can, the garbage truck picks it up, and when the garbage truck is full, the truck pulls into the plant and dumps it all out on what we call the tipping floor, and that's what I was talking about earlier, where I found the photographs and whatnot. And then a really giant loader pushes that trash onto a big conveyor belt, and it's fed into a shredder, and then it goes on more conveyor belts, and it goes through more shredders and more filters and magnets and a whole bunch of steps to basically get shredded down into a burnable material called refuse derived fuel, and that material is piped over to the power plant, and it's dropped into the boiler where we're generating our electricity. So it's just on an industrial scale, basically. If you've ever taken a handful of sawdust and just thrown it into a campfire, and it's just a real an instant flash of ignition. That's kind of what's happening with this stuff when it goes into the boiler.
So it's just
so there's all these conveyor belts, and the main part of my job is to basically shovel garbage and different bits of stuff that fall out of the system onto the floor. I go in when the plant closes down between shifts, and I push it all into big piles, and then I scoop it onto a conveyor that takes it up and out onto a truck, and then it's taken to the landfill. And I just was fascinated with this, right away, just watching this stuff just rolling on this conveyor belt, because it's kind of at an angle, and so when you scoop on the trash, the stuff that's light or flat will go up on the belt, but then anything that's round or heavy will roll back out. So there's just all these doll heads and balls and crazy weird stuff just rolling out of this conveyor belt, and it just but it's really just about this, like, it's just this constant process. We have to just 24/7 grind up trash and burn it. It's just a never stopping process, and I really like that kind of that idea of just this conveyor going forever and ever, and just it's never going to stop because
Endlessly.
we're never going to stop wasting, and we're never going to stop having trash.
Wow, yeah.
And then it's also a kind of an interesting metaphor for life of like just turn, keep trying, and yeah. So that's really where that song comes from.
I love it. So it's like a never-ending refinement of the trash that comes in, and then how many stages are there between, like you said, the tipping floor and?
It's quite a few. You know, it goes into a really huge grinder, and which takes it down into, you know, chunks about 8 or 10 inches in diameter, and then it just keeps getting pulverized into smaller bits, and there's magnets to take out the metal, and then there's another system that can take out an aluminum using an electric current, and
Interesting.
there's air filters and air knives, and
Wow.
It's quite a process.
We in some way we address our trash, at least in that way, but it's a painful address. It's like, yeah, it's a crucible almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's not to get into politics, you know, but it is currently under review if that process is going to continue for Ames. City Council is looking at alternatives because it is becoming cost prohibitive now to grind all that up to make electricity. So the electricity that's generated from that process is costing more than it really is worth, to do it. So the plant might not be there in a couple years.
Oh, that's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Well, how many songs are left in this album or this EP? I keep saying album.
I've got 4 more. And
Oh, fantastic.
They're all pretty short.
Great. Yeah, we'll keep going here. We usually broadcast for about an hour,
Okay.
maybe an hour plus down here in the Modest Basement Studio.
I've got other stuff we can talk about in other songs, but
Great.
I really appreciate the chance to go through this.
Absolutely, man. No, take it away.
So yeah, kind of building back on that story. This song is called 25 Tons a Day. Pat has said the picking's good today. There's folks in the drive-thru, they're throwing their lives away. You can find anything, 25 tons a day. TVs and toasters, dishes that ain't broke, pots and pans and ceiling fans, they think burning trash is woke. You can find anything, 25 tons a day. 25 tons a day. The mayor said it's okay, throw everything in the bin. Recycling for dummies, burning cardboard ain't a sin. You can throw anything, 25 tons a day. You can throw anything, 25 tons a day. Burn it, churn it, you can't return it. Burn it, churn it, you didn't earn it. Burn it, churn it, and walk away. 25 tons a day. 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 Okay. 25 tons a day, and that's how much
That's a lot.
garbage we pushing through there.
That's a lot of garbage.
yeah, so those are all things I've actually found in the. So Patty's the gal that she is the janitor essentially. So she comes in, she cleans the office and the inside space, and during the same time period where myself and the other folks come in to clean the plant. So she's always giving me the heads up on if there's good trash in there today to look at, and yeah, I've found TVs and toasters, and I found dishes that ain't broke, and pots and pans and ceiling fans, and all kinds of stuff in between. So
That's amazing. I mean, I've seen people try to sell something, right, and then throw it away or try to pawn it off on friends and family. But like you said before, it's just a never-ending, perpetual cycle of new stuff and old stuff and used stuff
And I don't know anything about any other cities, but I'm guessing that there might be some unique aspects of Ames too, with the university and so much turnover certainly. In apartments, and that when people get done with school or whatever, it's they don't want to take stuff with them. So you definitely see a lot of that stuff on the curb at certain times of the year. But if you can't get rid of it in that method, then it ends up in the garbage. And so you can find a lot of pretty much just brand new or really perfectly fine things in there. It's crazy.
That's amazing. And they're like Iowa State's a big university, so there's a lot of people moving through. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
But brand new stuff for an apartment that gets used for a year, 4 years, however long, and then it's done.
I guess I should make a shameless plug for the Rummage Rampage, which is coming up this weekend. So it's a program that the cities did start doing a few years ago to kind of address this issue. So it's I think it's over a couple weekends, but it's a sale over in the intermodal parking ramp facility in Campustown, and you can bring in and donate anything you really want to get rid of. It's a lot of furniture and whatnot, and the sale goes on, like I said, a couple weekends, I think, and all that money is then donated to the different groups that are doing the volunteering to help run it. So I think I read last year that it generated like $72,000 for these groups, and kept 75 tons of stuff out of the. So 25 tons a day, kept 3 days worth of stuff out of the plant.
We're doing what we can and making money at it, right? I think it's important. I agree with you. The Rummage Rampage is a really great event in Ames. Great stuff to find.
And I'm in no way sponsored by the Resource Recovery Plant right now. I feel like I'm giving them a
disclaimer here.
Giving them a shout out here. This just happens to be what I'm involved with right now, and no endorsements.
I love it.
They're not paying me to make this album.
Sure. Sounds good. Well, let's move into the next couple of tunes here, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is the Modest Basement Studio. You're listening to Dan DeGeest.
It's called Broken Souls Landfill. Thrown away like a plastic garbage bag, torn apart, so much to carry, tossed aside, insides ripped open wide, but don't look back. You can't stand still. Don't lie down. Broken Souls Landfill. dust, ashes, dust to dust, in the dump, discarded, I've lost all trust, in the ground, 6 feet under, and sinking down, but don't look back. You can't stand still. Don't hesitate. The broken soul's landfill. The broken soul's landfill.
We're getting pretty deep there, and apologies to the audience if you're hearing my dog whining in the background.
It's so sad I made the dog cry.
That's right. She's I think my wife just took off, so Ruthie's in the kennel for a while. She'll be fine. But yeah, man, powerful tune, powerful thoughts. Seems like a deeply personal, like that came from a personal place, and that's something I can definitely relate to, with just feeling I'm on the note of trash, on the note of, reduced, reused, feeling discarded, feeling broken, and just left to the wind, I guess.
Yeah, it is kind of this one is a deep cut, and
yeah,
broken soul landfill. You've been there a couple times, and you can't lie still, or you're gonna get stuck there. And
that's right.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
That sounds good. Yeah, let's hear some more music then, if you're up for it. And glad everybody's glad people are out there tuning in and checking out the Modest Basement Studio. I appreciate it. Try to do these once a month. With some exceptions, but mostly once a month. And again, my guest tonight is Dan DeGeest, playing the Trash album.
It's actually Dan DeGeest.
DeGeest, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
I should have caught you the first time on that one. It's all good.
I appreciate the correction. Yeah, Dan DeGeest with the Resource Recovery album.
All right, it's really nice to be here. Thank you again for the opportunity to play these.
Not a problem.
This one's called Blow Down. Here I stand again in the dust and debris, shattered hearts and pieces of broken dreams. Blow down. No, I've done my time. Yes, I've made my peace. I gave up all my money for oil and grease. Blow down. You got to blow down. You got to blow. Got to blow down. There's thinking time in the pit. Why does everything turn to shit when it touches the calloused hand of a garbage man? Blow down. You got to blow. Got to blow down. You got to blow years of hopes and dreams they pile up by the big machines. No matter how hard he cleans, so blow down, blow down, blow down, blow down.
Thank you. I can almost see those doll heads rolling down the conveyor and
Yeah.
life passing down the ramp and into around our boots, right?
Yeah, so the one of the parts of the job is what we call blowing down, and that's literally getting either like the big gas powered leaf blower type thing, you know, the backpack leaf blower, or we also have compressed air and air wands. And so we do a lot of blowing of debris and stuff around with air to move it out of the cracks and crevices, and then, you know, once we do that and make piles, then we can scoop it and push it and shovel it. And so I just like that metaphor, yeah, of blowing down the debris from above, and you just keep moving it down and, you know, scooping it up and getting it on out of there. So,
man, what a I'm just having trouble getting my head around 25 tons of trash a day coming through this plant, and all of the moving parts and all the things that's had to happen to make it continue moving.
You know, I think a lot of people know about the plant. Most Amesians know that we burn our trash, and it's almost kind of a point of pride for a lot of people to be like, yeah, we burn our trash. We're so, well, the song, it's all there in the songs, you know, I think burn trash is woke, and
yeah,
you know, it's been pushed on us as recycling and other things. It's, you know, it's none of those things, and it's been a good process for what it is. You know, it's landfill management. So instead of burying all this trash in the ground, we grind it up and we burn it. But you know, it's just not very effective anymore. And so yeah, this plant's probably going to be going through some changes, and we're going to figure out the next phase
for sure
for Ames trash.
We'll find out. Stay tuned to find out what happens next, right?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, it's just amazing how those priorities change over time and how the resources change over time. You know, not only trash, but like what's available to. It's strange to say it, but like fund the burning of trash for electricity.
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's a fascinating history too, because Ames is one of the first places that ever did it on an industrially large scale. You know, one of the first cities to ever really do this, and that plant was built in the 70s, I think. And there's other cities now that still do something like this, but it was very unique at the time, and very progressive. And, you know, Ames building on its engineering, and, you know, ISU kind of, you know, a lot of thinkers out there, and so it was a very, very cutting edge at the time.
Yep. Gordy makes a good comment online here. Running our podcast here is running on trash tonight.
That's right.
It's absolutely trash powered Modest Basement Studio episode.
Throw something away, y'all.
Yeah, we need more bandwidth here.
Well, how about I do the last track, and then we can talk more about trash, or we can move on to something else.
Sounds good, Dan. Thanks again.
It's a short and sweet one. This is called Halfway Home. A plastic fork and spoon, no table in the room, halfway home. No flowers and no vase, just me and empty space, halfway home. I had to get away, I knew I couldn't stay, halfway home. But now I'm moving on, it's time to say so long, halfway home. Outside the prison walls, I'm feeling pretty small. Who am I after all? Outside the prison walls, I'm feeling pretty small.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful music, Dan. Thanks for sharing this EP with us tonight. It's been
You're welcome.
Really a pleasure. Are we through the EP portion of the
That's
evening?
it.
That's wonderful.
Resource recovery, y'all.
Resource recovery, and that was that was a treat to be among the first to hear it. So thanks for coming on the Modest Basement Studio to share it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So just to review here, we've been talking about garbage, talking about the burning of garbage, and all the directions that art can take such a raw activity and material. It's been really a pleasure to hear this. So this broadcast, by the way, this stream will be posted as recording after the fact if you want to watch back through it, share it with your friends or anything like that. So yeah, glad to be having you on tonight. And again, everyone out there, you can catch these about once a month, usually on a Thursday night. So glad we're doing this. So
It's been really fun.
yeah,
This is really cool. I'm glad, like I said, glad to be on. And this is a great service you're doing. There's so many talented musicians here in Ames, and it's great that you're giving an outlet to get people's music out there. And you got a lot of equipment down here and a lot of time and money invested in here, so appreciate that as well. And
absolutely.
Really happy that we just happened to run into each other the other night. We had scheduled to do this, I think, in June or something, right?
That's right. I think May or June or something like that.
That would have been a totally different show because I didn't have any of this music at that time, and so it's just really awesome that we ran into each other the other night and reconnected and got this set up. So
I love it, and the there's a couple funny things there. It was kind of a weird happenstance that we bumped into each other, but also I did want to second your point. There's a lot of great talent around Ames, a lot of great music going on all over town all the time. So it's really feel lucky to be in a town like this.
Yeah, just put another plug out there. There's music happening after this. The Morning Bells. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yep.
They're doing kind of a farewell show.
Yep.
One of the bells, Ella, is moving, so I believe tonight is their final performance.
The funeral show, from what I heard.
Yes, right? I believe that is starting pretty soon, probably right after this.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
About 8 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good one to catch. And Dan, I think when you were going to come on in May or June or whenever that was, you were kind of getting into electronic music, and what can you give us like a brief summary of what took you in that direction?
Sure. So, like I said, I quit my job about a year ago. It's a little over a year ago, and went back to grad school, and I'm getting a master's degree in human computer interaction, which is it's a really your dog is so sad.
Poor Ruthie. Yeah, sorry, Ruthie. It's okay.
It's a really broad discipline master's degree, but it is kind of hinged on technology and software and computers, and so it's more involved with how we interact with technology and what is the psychology behind our interactions with technology. And I'm friends with Austin Stewart and another professor named Alex Braidwood, and I got to know another one through one of my classes, Johnny DeBlasi. So they work more in the arts and visual culture is what their area is. So taking technology in more of an art focused way. And so I just became, really interested in that. I took classes with Johnny. I did an independent study with Alex. And so I think I'm just really interested in taking my 30-plus year software background into a more artistic way. And I did a lot of stuff with some graphics and different programming. I did a projection show for Witch Tit, which is another great local band. That was the culmination of my independent study. And and then the first semester I just wanted to learn more about MIDI and some other technologies, and so the trash plant came through for me, and I as I said, all these balls and whatnot fall out of these conveyors. So over the course of a couple of months, I collected a Rubbermaid tote full of bouncy balls, and decided to do this project of just, making a MIDI pad controller, essentially, where if you throw a ball and when it hits the pad, it would generate a MIDI note, and just having fun with, as I guess a great example of human-computer interaction. It's like, what is the interface? Well, the interface is throwing a bouncy ball at this pad, and however many times it bounces, or how fast it bounces, or how hard it impacts what note is played, or some other parameters. And so that's just kind of led me then to mess around more with electronic music. I've tried to do some actual songs and make some stuff with that kind of software and synthesizers and whatnot. So that's very fledgling, and I'm just learning how to do some of that stuff.
Awesome.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, and at the time I was really into it, and that's what we were going to talk about on the show. But
sure. Absolutely fascinating.
But now it's summer and I'm not in school right now, and so I'm not focusing on any of that stuff right now. I'm just back to playing the guitar and singing and shoveling garbage, and
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being on tonight, Dan. We've got time for maybe one or two more. You got some in mind you want to share with us?
Well, I do have a lot of other songs. As I said, I made an album called Loveland in 2020 during the pandemic that I recorded in my home.
A little encore performance here.
I could do a song off of that. It's interesting. I do have. It's a sad one, so maybe I'll skip that one. But I do have a song about walking through a graveyard and walking past gravestones, which was interesting that you mentioned that. I think I was playing it earlier when we were doing soundcheck. Edward Gibbs song.
Yep. That was beautiful.
But let's try something a little less sad.
All right.
This is really the first song that I ever wrote that I was like, wow, that's a song. I can do that. So I'm gonna do that one. It's called No Again. It's the first track on Loveland. When the darkness comes and the birds forget to sing, I just close my eyes and I see you again, and I know that I won't be alone again. When the snowflakes fall and the water's frozen time, I just close my eyes and you're by my side, and I know that I won't be cold again. When the candles burn down to the quick and the shadows they fade away, I just close my eyes and then I know everything's okay. And then the morning comes, the birds in full refrain. I open up my eyes, I say goodbye again. And I know that I won't say no again. And when the candles burn down to the quick, and the shadows that fade away, I just close my eyes, and then I know everything's okay. Everything will be okay. And I sing la 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 la, I sing la 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 la, I sing la 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 la.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Beautiful tune. You know, we are rolling right up on the hour here, so I think I'll call it at this point. Also, I think Ruthie the dog is in desperate need of release from her kennel. Unless you have anything you'd like to perform for us.
We should set Ruthie free.
She would love that. She will love that. So we'll get on with that.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Dan DeGeest has been my guest tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Dan. And to everyone out there who's watching, thanks for tuning in. And with that, I think we'll jam with you next time.
All right. Thanks.